Hello, this is Opinion Radar. Now, if you spend any time around old houses, especially the kind held together by generations of paint and stubborn pride, you know one truth. Nothing's square. Floors slope, walls lean, corners? Well, let's just say they make suggestions more than they define angles. For years, I've wrestled with transferring those oddball angles from wall to saw, and it never got easier, just slower and more frustrating. But lately, I've been testing a tool that caught my eye not because it's flashy or high-tech, but because it promises to do one simple job right. That tool is the Bora MiteriX, a compact angle transfer gauge that costs just under $30. No bells, no whistles, just two pivoting arms and a locking knob. On paper, it sounds modest. But in a world where a single bad cut can mean wasted wood, lost time, and sore knees, even small improvements matter. So I took it on real jobs, old homes, uneven walls, the kind of work that doesn't look good on Instagram, but pays the bills. Here's what I found. Now, let me tell you something. After more than 40 years of tinkering in a workshop, pounding nails in houses that probably predate the Great Depression, and watching everything from hand tools to high-tech gizmos come and go, I've learned a thing or two about what works and what's just flash and shine. I'll admit, I was skeptical about this little aluminum and plastic gadget they call the Bora MiteriX. At first glance, it looks like something that belongs in a kid's toy toolbox. But don't let the looks fool you. For transferring angles, especially those pesky ones you find in older homes where corners are more suggestion than right angle, this thing is a revelation. No more guessing, no more holding up scraps and eyeballing it till your neck aches. You just place it in the corner, lock it in, and carry that exact angle straight over to your miter saw. It cuts down the trial and error that used to drive me to the workshop fridge for a cold one, and not just for refreshment. If you catch my drift, I used this on the church parsonage project last fall, and I tell you, it saved me a heap of time and temper. Old buildings like that haven't got a single true 90-degree corner. You'd think the original framers were just having a bad day every time they picked up a level. I was struggling with outside moldings, trying to get miters that didn't gape like a barn door in the wind. This little tool, it took the guesswork out of the equation. You just press it into the angle, pop one side loose, and transfer the setting directly to your saw. And because it holds that angle without slipping, most of the time, you're not constantly remeasuring and adjusting. There's even a neat little trick where you can slide the arms out past the pivot point if you've got baseboard or drywall compound blocking the corner. Clever? You bet. Thoughtful? Absolutely. Whoever designed this clearly spent real time in the field, not just a boardroom. Now, I can't sit here and say it's perfect. Like anything in life, there are trade-offs. It's a bit chunky, can't deny that. There were a few tight spots where the arms couldn't quite fit into the corner because of nearby trim or heavy joint compound buildup. And yeah, I get that making it smaller might compromise its sturdiness, so I'll give them that. But the real concern, this is where I'll be honest, is the build quality. Mine started getting sticky after a couple dozen uses. That brass pivot, it rides in plastic track, and over time, the tightening mechanism begins to compress the track, especially if you're measuring similar angles over and over, like in a house with slightly off 90s. After a while, it doesn't glide as smooth as it should. I'm not asking for a titanium space shuttle here, but maybe a washer under that screw or a reinforced track could have made a big difference. That said, I still use it. I just handle it a little more gently now, like my old pickup after 200,000 miles. One thing I'll say, though, its simplicity is genius. No batteries, no screens, no app to download. It's just geometry done right. I remember a time when I'd carry around two pieces of molding, cutting test joints until one finally fit. That's how we did it. But now, I've got grandkids who can set angles on their phones. But this is something you can trust, even with sawdust in your eyes and gloves on your hands. The knob is big enough to turn without fumbling, and once it's locked, it stays put. I even use it for a bevel cut. Had to brace the saw guard out of the way, of course, and always unplugged it first. But it worked. Hundreds of feet of molding in a brownstone, and not one corner that matched the protractor. This little gizmo kept me sane. Now, I'm not saying it's for fine furniture work. If you're making a cherry cabinet or doing delicate inlay, you might want something more precise, like that fancy angle I saw at a friend's shop. Costs 4 times as much, mind you, but for baseboards, crown molding, exterior trim, this is scaled just right. It's not flimsy, but it's not overbuilt either. And at $30, look, I've thrown away twice that on tape measures that didn't last a season. This one's earned its spot in my kit. I'm even thinking about wrapping it in some foam, keeping it safe from dings in the toolbox. That's how much I value it. So is it perfect? No. But is it useful? Absolutely. Does it make life easier for someone like me, a lifetime DIYer who's had enough of chasing perfect miters in imperfect houses? You bet it does. It won't replace skill, but it sure as heck levels the playing field. The directions could be better. Had to look up a YouTube video to really get it. But once you do, it's mindless. And in this trade, mindless is a compliment. If you've ever stood there frustrated, with a gap in your joint and a growing stack of scrap wood at your feet, this might be the $30 investment that changes everything. I'd buy it again in a New York minute. No question. Well, I reckon that's about the long and short of it. If you're tired of wrestling with crooked corners and scrap piles, give the Bora MiteriX a shot. And if you got tools that make life easier or just save your back, hit that like button and subscribe. Let's keep the shop talk going one smart tool at a time.